Let's assume you've decided to ask closed-ended questions and ask rating scales and ask rating questions, and now you need to know what words to put on your 5 or 7 scale points. You might be tempted to use numbers, right? Because everyone in the world understands a number. 2 trees, 3 goats, 2 pebbles, numbers are numbers everywhere, right? So that seems like, well, just in case I have different literacy levels in my sample, I'm just going to use numbers, right? And this may be tempting, especially if you've got like a 7-point scale. But if I ask you, how interested are you in Mexican food tonight? You say, how interested are you in Mexican food? 7. No, you say, I'm kind of interested, or yeah, I could go for that, right? So we use words to communicate with each other. And a questionnaire is simply the vehicle for a conversation between a researcher and a respondent. And so because people talk in words, not in numbers, we need to put some words on our rating scale points. So you might be tempted to use a word and a number, just in case the word vary means different things to different people. But maybe the word vary isn't a 6 to all people. Maybe that starts to throw people out of whack, like, oh, varies, that's more like a 9 to me, or a 99, and so that doesn't really jive. And now you've got people focused on whether or not the number matches the words, and it's just more information that's unnecessary. And again, we don't talk in numbers for the most part, so let's just use verbal labels. One such example where people are tempted to use numbers or some combination is, again, the weather. Right? So you wake up in the morning and you're thumbing through your closet, what should I wear? And the meteorologist comes on and says, there's a 30% chance of rain tomorrow. Or maybe some days it says there's a 32% chance of rain tomorrow. I'm not sure what the difference between a 30 and a 32 is in terms of the likelihood of raining, but the bottom line is you listen to the number and you say, it's probably not going to rain. I'm going to leave my umbrella home. And so what you really want your meteorologist to say is, definitely bring an umbrella and your galoshes. As a matter of fact, it's a hurricane. Just button down the hatches and stay home, right? But those are words to describe what you should do so that you can have a difference made in your comfort level that day, right? And so we don't talk in terms of percentages. It's really how likely is it to rain, right? Is it extremely likely, very likely, somewhat likely, slightly likely? It's not at all likely to rain. So people prefer these vague quantifiers over numbers. And you want to use equal spacing between the labels. And so, for example, if we're talking about your interest in having Mexican food tonight, and you say, how interested are you in Mexican food? And you really want it, so you give someone the following response option. I die for Mexican food, I'm extremely interested, I'm very interested, I'm crazy for Mexican food. That's so packed all 4 or 5 response options on one end of the scale. That isn't equal spacing. You haven't given the respondent a chance to use a full array of attitudes. So you want these things to be sufficiently far apart so that there is meaningful differences between the response points.